First glance, Ned, what do you think? Verlander to the Giants. The specifics, I don't know if you saw it, but the specifics are it's a 1-year deal for $15 million.
Well, I think it's probably got two benefits to San Francisco. One, you're getting a starting pitcher. Is he going to be the Verlander of 3, 4, 5, 15 years ago? Probably not. But is he gonna pitch? Yeah. And is he going to help your young players? That I think is one of the most valuable pieces to this. I think when you have somebody that's going to the Hall of Fame that has competed the way he has competed and has had the career that he's had, anytime your young players, whether they're pitchers or position players, starting pitchers or relief pitchers, I think they learn from people like this. And I think as you think about Buster and his career and a Hall of Famer and Verlander in the same path, they'll be teammates one day in Cooperstown. Um, I think it's got value in that way too. How many innings is he going to pitch? Don't know. Had a rough finish to the season. He's been through a lot of different injuries. I think neck is one of them, and a couple other things. But the compete of the player is as strong as anybody's. So I think part of this deal will also be the value of having him with a younger staff.
Yeah, no question about it. I mean, if you think Giants went after Corbin Burns, obviously they didn't want to go and finish that deal. I don't necessarily fault them for it. Not that Corbin Burns is not a spectacular pitcher, but over the life of the deal, I don't know that any of those big money, super long-term deals work out. And I really don't like him with a second-year opt-out. To me, just when you throw in the second-year opt-out, it's just like guaranteeing that you're going to lose the deal. I mean, I'll take a risk, but you might see me in a casino, and I'll wager on a sporting contest or two. I'll take a risk, but I don't like it. When my odds are 100%, I'm going to lose. I don't like taking those risks, and that's what the second year option feels like.
You're right. The club is on line. If he blows out, the club is on the line for the duration. So. Right. The only way that the club is really on the line for the duration is if he's ineffective. So you've lost.
It's like Ned. It's my old buddy, the football coach, used to say it's like a ham and egg breakfast. The chicken was involved. The pig was committed. The chicken was involved. The pig was committed. The club's committed. The players involved. I'd like to see a little bit more of a less. I don't need the club to be committed like that.
No, I did it once with Zach Greinke. I gave him a 6-year deal, 3-year out. And that was a different dynamic a little bit. It was probably the only way we were going to sign him. He had an offer from Texas that doesn't have any state tax. California's obviously got a state tax from what I know. And so, there was a big money difference for him, plus going to a place that he didn't know. So we gave him an out after 3 years, and he was great. I think he was 51-15, and then he left, ironically, for Arizona. But he was also at a different point in his career, and I thought that the next 3 years may be his best 3 years. So if you want to leave after 3, I'll let you do it, because we're going to end up getting really probably 3 great years, and we did. I think he was a runner-up in the Cy Young one of those years, but. Anyway, I think that the Giants did well to give Verlander, again, how much is he going to contribute in conversation versus how much he's going to contribute on the mound. I think, it might be 50-50.
Yeah. He's got a curveball, a changeup, a four-seamer, a slider. When I say Verlander, he's a great competitor. He's kept himself in pretty good shape. What stands out to you about him as an arm?
Well, his stuff is probably diminished to some extent. Sure. But again, he's one of those guys that, I traded for Greg Maddux twice. And the last year of his career was 2008. And, I knew Greg since the day we drafted him in Chicago. So I knew the character. I knew the genius behind the pitching. And I traded for him the second time with my dear friend, the late Kevin Towers, knowing that I wasn't going to get a tremendous performance going forward, but I was going to get the mind, and I was going to get him sitting next to a guy named Clayton Kershaw, who was a kid. So the stuff was less, But guys like Maddox, guys like Verlander, they know how to pitch. It's not just throwing to them, it's pitching to them. Greg won, I don't know how many games he won his last year, it was in double digits. And he was probably throwing 84, 85 miles an hour at the utmost, but he knew how to pitch. When I think about Justin Verlander today, I know two things. I know he competes to the utmost, and I know he knows how to pitch. So if he's lost a couple miles here and there, or he can't, he's going to throw harder in the first than he will in the fifth or the sixth, and harder in April and May than he will in August and September. That doesn't mean that it's a fool's errand. It means that he's going to have to adjust, and he's already probably done that for a few years. And I think that's got value, because whether you know it or not, as a young pitcher, if you're going to play in the big leagues for a while, there's going to be an adjustment you're going to have to make. Clayton's made one the last 2-3 years. And so watching somebody do it in front of you, instead of having, somebody talk to you about it, or just have conversation, I think has got value. So when I think of him, I think of a great career, a Hall of Fame career, one of the great competitors of all time. And I think he's going to probably teach guys how to pitch, maybe with stuff that's not as sharp, or is not as high velo as it once was. That's human nature. That's life. But he knows what he's doing, and he'll compete to the utmost.
He'll be 42. In his 39 season, this was 2022, he went 18-4 with a
Yes.
1.75 ERA, 28
Yes.
starts. He won the Cy Young. Was an all-star, and finished 10th in the league MVP voting. How much do you think a guy like this understands, hey, look, my stuff is diminishing a little bit. I had a 5.48 ERA. That's the highest ERA he's ever had in his entire career, going back to his rookie year. His rookie year, he had a 7.15 ERA. The 5.48 was the highest ERA he's had. Do you think a guy like that says, you know what? I know San Francisco, is a much better pitching yard than Houston.
Oh, no doubt.
Let me go there for a year. I mean, you brought in Oral Hershiser. You and Brian brought in Oral Hershiser to that 1998 Giant team.
Yes.
And another guy, future Hall of Famer. Stuff wasn't the same, but man, I thought Oral was a very good Giant and had pitched a number of really good games,
and taught guys along the way. So I think that there's going to be great benefits to this, and not all of them is going to be in the ERA or the hits per inning, or different metrics that people look at. I think it's going to be in what he does and how he does it. And 18-4 wasn't that long ago. Now, as you get to that 40 age group, things go a little bit quicker for you, and it doesn't quite happen as the chances of it happening again are slim. But is he going to be able to teach? I don't have any doubt. And I, not knowing what Buster's conversations were with him, and vice versa, there's a good chance that there's a great mutual respect between these two players, and Buster probably explained what he needs besides the innings, the innings pitched, and everything else that he's got. So there's no doubt in my mind that those conversations were had.
Ned, Buster, and you've done this job that he's in, and he's in there with Zach Manassian. Yep. Do you know Zach, by the way, that well? I know he's been a baseball guy forever. His dad was a clubby, right? And he was the clubby.
I knew his grandfather, believe it or not.
Okay, so he's a baseball guy,
yes.
and his brother is as well. His brother's was in with the Angels. Do you know anything about Manassian that you could share with us? I mean, he was in Milwaukee. He also, I think, may have acquired Greinke somewhere in there. CC Sabathia and some others. Does he have a reputation in any way around the game?
I think he's got a lot of respect through the game. I think people understand that he's paid his dues, that he looks at the game through a lot of different lenses. It's not just one way or the other. I think he's somebody that gathers as much information as he can, which I think is a great sign of leadership. In baseball, you've got analytics, you've got old time scouting type of thing. So, it's, I think he looks at everything, and I think his record has been really good, and he knows how to build, he knows how to acquire. So I think it's a good choice for them. And I know, one of his right-hand guys is one of my dear friends, Jeremy Shelley, who I think is one of the best baseball executives going. His reliability, his memory, his ability to really think and produce and execute. When you've got him sitting next to you, that's a huge plus too. So I think the front office is in a good spot. And I've said this maybe on your show or on other shows, and I was in San Francisco when it wasn't a destination. Okay, in the 95 and 96 season, my first 2 years there, Candlestick Park was still home. It was not a destination, and then it became a destination. I think the Giants, it needs to be a destination again. I don't know if it is, but I do know that it's certainly got the all what you need to be a destination. And when that starts to happen, and your development system starts to kick in, and your drafts and your international signs start to bear fruit, now suddenly you're going to be able to compete with anybody and everybody.